Well, hello. I'm so glad to be back. And today I'm here with my friend Leks Vucko. Lex, I'm so just like honored that you wanted to come and share your time, your expertise with me today and with the audience. So before I get started, would you like to just introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lex. I am all about optimizing health. I've been through low lows and high highs of my with my body and my functioning brain, and I love sharing my story to help women be and feel at their best because this is a multi-layered issue we're dealing with when it comes to women's bodies.
100%. Women's bodies is such a charged topic, isn't it? Like everybody has some sort of distortion around it to some extent. And the cultural conditioning that we're all exposed to, like it's in the water, right? Like it's just one of those
Oh,
things that is,
yes.
it's like, like that analogy with the fish in the water, you don't even know that it's there because it's just like you were born into it. And so,
Yes.
like with all of my guests, I would love for you to share your story, Lex. I know it's gonna be a spicy one. So, yeah, just take it away whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I started in fitness 20 some years ago. I joined the gym and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I want everybody to know this. And then I got into that and then I realized, okay, well, I see people 2, 3 times a week. Nothing's changing. And then we jumped into nutrition and I started learning nutrition. And then I experiment everything I learned, I would experiment on myself. I'm like, how does that make me feel? Does that really work? And all of that. And so we dove a lot into nutrition and fitness. And then I was like, okay, there's more to it. Like there's a whole mindset side of it. There's nervous system. Like there's longevity, biohacking, the way brain is wired. And then somewhere along the way, I was doing all of my inner work as well. I had my fitness studio in Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States, and I started applying these things. We did training, we did some nutrition, we started doing meditations and stretching. Like I started introducing more and more breathing exercises, like a lot. And then in 2018, I sold my studio and I took a little break and then went online because I was like, there's just so much that I need to share with women because if you feel great, everything can change for the better. And if you feel like crap, nothing's going to work. And when I was in my 30s, when I had my fitness studio, I competed in bodybuilding as well. And that taught me
Mm.
a lot. That taught me
Yeah.
a lot on the mindset because there is biology and you can never win biology.
Hmm.
I had a six pack, and that's when I was the most miserable in my life. So it's
Hmm.
not about the looks, it's about longevity because now I have a son, he's 7.5, and I'm like planning how much behind 100 years can I live, quality life to be there for him. Like I
Yeah.
literally calculate everything on longevity. So
Yeah.
every decision I make today is like, is this bringing me longevity? Is this the best thing for me when I'm 80, 90, 100, right? And I
Mm.
started doing that and I started noticing how good I feel in the moment by doing that.
Yeah.
And then again, somewhere along the way, I hit 40 and 41, and now I'm 44. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to talk to women in 40s because it's like, it's like particular species that this world knows nothing about.
Yeah.
And all they're told is it's your hormones or you're aging. And it's so beyond true.
Hmm.
40s are not a time to stop. So I
Hmm.
got really passionate about this because I started seeing on me and then my clients as to how amazing life can be no matter age, no matter what age you are.
Hmm.
I had back pain. I healed it in one meditation in one night. I'm not saying that that's what I'm selling. I'm saying that was my experience
Yeah.
to say our body is way more powerful than we think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I started in fitness and weight loss, and then now I'm
Mm.
all about performance. I'm all about optimizing the body and the brain to perform at their best.
That is such a great lens to look at things, isn't it? Because like I find that so how were you able to make that switch? Because like it sounds easy, right? Like it sounds easy to think like, okay, I switch from focusing just on looks and appearances to focusing on longevity. Like obviously you had your son and that was a big motivation. But a lot of people have kids, but they still are focused on looks and stuff. So how did you make that shift? I'd love to
Right.
learn more about
That's
that.
a really great question. I'm so glad we're pausing there because you're
Yeah,
right. It's not fucking
it's not
easy. It's not
easy.
easy at all.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the first starting point was I had a six pack. I looked great on photos. Everybody, when they're getting ready for bodybuilding, they do their photo shoot right
Yeah.
before the competition when you look their best.
Yeah.
I have amazing photos. I'm like, oh man. But I also remember how crappy I felt. So my
Mm.
thyroid was crap. I had zero testosterone at one point produced by my body. Like I was
Wow.
lifting weights and it was so screwed up. I had
Wow.
to do hormones for a minute. I had to do thyroid medication for a minute. And it was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing medication. I'm not. That's just my personality. I'm not
Yep.
anti-meds. They have a place. They
Hmm.
did help me at that time, but I use them as a bridge to where I'm going, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then so there was the first step to say, okay, so I had the looks and I still
Hmm.
wasn't happy. As a matter of fact, I felt awful. So
Hmm.
what the heck happened?
Yep.
So that was probably the first start. And then it was this, the whole transition into meditations and deep work. And then it was just like, oh my gosh, I have so much inner work to do. I never
Yep.
realized I was living on high adrenaline because I was afraid to slow down because I was in survival mode. It
Hmm.
was like, oh, and then it was like, what is this now? What is this whole nervous system work? So then I dove into that, and that helped me as well to go to the next step. And this whole time, I'm always driven by who I'm becoming. I'm always driven by that, right? Like I don't want to do regrets. So like I want to be old age one day and be like, you know what? I did everything the best that I could, right? Like I just don't. Like, that's my driver.
Hmm.
And so in all of that process, it was like, okay, I'm searching for myself. I want to feel great. I want to build a business, like all of these things. And you're right. Then I had my son.
Yep.
And actually, right after I had my son, I dropped weight drastically. Like I was relatively skinny. I would go running and like I would do whatever. And
Mm.
you mentioned it earlier. This is why I want to mention it. Culturally, right? I
Yep.
grew up in Eastern Europe, by the
Yep.
way, where all the girls are like, not all, but most girls are like slim and it's easy for them to maintain that. And I was fit, but I was wider than them, right? Like it's
Okay.
just the way I built it. So and taller, like I'm way taller. And so I always felt like the guy, right? Like I was like the manly one, right? Like in between all my friends, like I was the bodyguard. And so then when I went to bodybuilding and I started putting on muscle, it kind of went with that because I
Yeah.
didn't know it at the time. It was all survival, but it was like nobody's gonna mess with me kind of attitude, right?
Mm.
So did a
Mhm.
lot of inner work, peeled a lot of layers off, realized, oh my God, I've done everything around fitness, but nothing about mental, emotional, spiritual well-being.
Yep.
So then the next one was the spiritual, the meditations. And then I started like, okay, how do I do the mental and emotional? And I started understanding that it's not just one thing. It's everything, right? Like
Mhm.
you can optimize yourself physically, but
Yeah.
if you're mentally not there, what's the point? So to
100%.
me, mental health is like the most important. And then I use a lot of physical and other things, but a lot of physical things to get people there. So anyway, I
Yeah.
lost weight after I
Yeah.
had my kid,
Yeah.
and I felt kind of good about it physically, but again,
Mm.
mentally, I wasn't there. So it took
Mhm.
a lot of inner work and a lot of identity shifts to
Yeah.
get to a place. And I think again, having my kid was a big one because it's like, oh, it's not just about what I want. I have to be healthy for him.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing that came over me of not just that I'm responsible for my kid,
Mhm.
I'm responsible for taking care of me to be there for him.
Mm.
And that was a huge shift for me. That was
Yeah.
probably like the cherry on top that
Yeah.
really got me to start looking into longevity.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's really insightful. And I really do think that perspective, it just gives you such a different like vibration. You know, we're talking about the spiritual and the intellectual and it's like thinking about like future you, not from a place of like, I'm not going to start living my life until I look a certain way, but from a perspective of like my highest self. That is such a powerful anchor than just, the like, do I fit in? Like, do I look okay to other people, right? It's just that, yeah. Thanks for sharing your journey because it's hard, even though like we might intellectually know, at some state it just has to be really something that lands in your body. And it sounds like
Oh
that's what
yeah.
happened for you, which is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah,
It has to land in your body because this
yeah,
whole time I didn't realize I was chasing for something outside of me. And when it comes to
yeah,
weight and women's bodies,
yes.
women are so trained to look at what's the norm, what's
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
popular, what's mainstream,
Yeah.
but it all comes down to how do I feel inside? Because I used to, when women would come to me for weight loss years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when I had the fitness studio, I
Mm-hmm.
would tell them like the weight comes off when you do all the other things right. Weight
Mm-hmm.
is just, to me, this is personally me saying,
Mm-hmm.
if someone's dealing with weight issues, that's only showing physically manifesting what's going on up here.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people have different addictions that are not as obvious. They can hide them better.
Yes.
Some people struggle with food because they haven't sorted out what's going on. And food is tricky because it's
Yep.
primal to us. It's
Yep.
necessary for survival, right? So
Yes.
like if someone's
Yeah.
taking drugs, they can separate themselves from the environment where drugs are. You don't go to a store and have drugs there, right?
Yeah.
Alcohol, a little harder, but you can still get
Yeah.
away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Food is
Mm-hmm.
there,
Yep.
right? So it becomes very tricky. And then there's the shame
Yeah.
because after I was competing in bodybuilding, I gained weight. There's something
Mm-hmm.
called refeeding
Yes.
syndrome where you
Yes.
just binge and you can't stop. And like
Yeah.
I was in fitness, there was so much shame around it. Like I know better.
Yeah.
But all of that helped me understand when someone comes to me and says like, I don't know what's going on with me. I
Mm.
know what's going on. Let's look into all of it, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, because
Oh.
we're all of it together.
Yeah, I just really want to like extend some heartfelt thanks there because that's so vulnerable to share, right? Like that and that shame piece, you're absolutely right. Especially when you are a like quote unquote professional, right? You think like, okay, well, I need to be a shining example of perfection. But in fact, we're dehumanizing ourselves when we do that, right? Like
Yes.
most of us who came to the helping professions got there because we had our own struggles, right? Like,
Yes,
right?
exactly it. That's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
it. It was, and that the shame is, I teach this to my clients all the time.
Hmm.
It's so useless. And if you look at
Mm.
the vibrational scale of emotions, guilt and
Yeah.
shame are at the bottom.
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps just talking
Same,
about it.
same.
But so
Yeah.
many women are
Uh-huh.
stuck in guilt and shame, and it's a vicious
Yeah.
cycle. And it's a cycle that, the world wants to have you in because I don't know how much you agree with this, but patriarchy doesn't want women who want to shine. That's why women are
Mhm.
shamed because they're
Mhm.
afraid of being called fat and ugly
Yep.
and the B word and all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yep.
Right. But when
Yep.
you get to a certain age or do a certain inner work, you get to a point where you're like, you know what? None of that matters. What do I think?
I know.
Because though that shame that I carried for
Yeah.
how other people are going to perceive me as a trainer and now I'm gaining weight,
Yep.
it was really me feeling shame for who I am, not about them. It was me assuming what I thought they
Yes.
think. Like that's just exhausting.
100%. And I want to double click there and just add my own experience there. Like when I was really struggling with like just hating my body, like no matter what I did, it just was never good enough. And my kind of fiance at the time, my now husband, like he would tell me that I'm beautiful and all these things. I cannot take it in. That's
Oh, no.
right. It's like those are the moments when you really have that awakening. It's like, shit, it was never about other people, how they saw me. It's how I see myself. Because if someone else can reflect back that, you're this beautiful being inside and out, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, he's just saying that because he's my
He
husband.
thinks
Like
that. Yeah,
I
right. Yeah,
could
yeah.
not
He
take it
thinks
in.
different. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me share a moment that I had a few years ago because again, I've been in fitness, I've been in health industry, but I have
Mm.
struggled with weight through the bodybuilding. Don't
Yeah.
anybody listening, please never go to bodybuilding. Like never
Yeah.
go to fitness figure body bikini competitions. Please don't. It's just going to screw up your body.
Let's hear it from you.
Anyway,
Let's say it again, louder.
never,
Yeah.
never. It messes up with your hormones. It messes up with your body. It goes to the extreme on playing with sodium, which is a absolutely essential electrolyte.
Mm-hmm,
It gives you the
mm-hmm,
refeeding syndrome. I mean, I would be binging. I wouldn't know to stop. Like
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know to stop.
Well,
Anyway, I went through all of that. I already had my kid. Same thing
yeah,
with my husband, though. He
yeah.
thinks I am the most beautiful person in the world, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
like I think you need your eyes checked, right? Like it was like
Mm.
the whole theme, right? But it
Yeah.
also goes with we are being taught never to say we're pretty, right? Like who do
Mm.
you think you are, right? And so
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I had so much. I still had obviously shame around food, which I didn't know. So this was
Mm-hmm.
like 4 or 5 years back now.
Mm-hmm.
I had made a plate to eat, and I was standing in the kitchen getting it ready, and he passed by and he said, "Are you going to eat all that?" And it triggered me. And because I've done the inner work,
Mm.
I stopped, checked in with myself. I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, I think so." And
Mm-hmm.
he was just like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then I went back and I was like, "What did he mean by that?" And I realized
Mm.
he didn't mean anything by it. I made it mean something. I made it mean something because of the shame that I'm carrying
Yeah.
from back in the day.
Yes.
And I was actually fit in the moment that that happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shame is deep, but it
Yep.
needs to be worked on. It's absolutely essential
100%.
to get rid of guilt and shame.
Yeah. 100%. Like you said, it's just one of those things that doesn't help. And at some stage, like, it's not like you try and bypass it. Because I think one of the really key things about releasing rage, sorry, A bit of a Freudian slip. One of the like key things about releasing shame is actually accessing inner rage and also through disgust, right? Because actually, when you think about this, like in the nervous system, like the biology of shame is very similar to disgust. Like it's on the same continuum, right? And there are physiological, like like your body takes on a posture when you're feeling shame, all these things, right? And disgust is like the doorway to like getting it, to not getting rid of it, but just letting it go because your body doesn't want to hold that, right? Like shame is so heavy to hold, right? And
Yes.
so like I find that if you can access where you've really suppressed your rage and anger, that really helps to actually let that shame kind of be released rather than just continuously looping inside your body, right? Because it's like it's just stuck
Yes.
there if you don't
Oh,
actually, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. And then that leads to just accepting that this is who I was at that time of my life.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like that is who I was. And you
yeah,
hit it like so on point. I was
mhm,
full of rage,
yeah,
right? Like the reason I'm covered
yeah,
in tattoos is because I needed to feel pain. I needed to feel something
uh-huh,
because I
uh-huh.
was numb and the only thing I could feel is
And it looks
numbness and
dope now,
rage.
so
Well, it looks great now. And someone asked me
yeah,
something about it, and I was like, I'm not getting any more
uh-huh,
because I used to love pain back in the day. And it made me like, that's why I love lifting weights too, is like
yeah,
painful, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And I look at it now as for longevity. But like,
yeah.
I used to tell people, like, I, if I was this person 20 years ago, I would have never had a tattoo, maybe one small one, right? But like, I would have
Mm,
never, I don't feel regret over it.
hmm.
I just know that this represents a part of my life. I have accepted who I was. It's
Yes.
the exact same thing with people and their weight, right? If you can look at pictures when you were overweight or underweight or didn't feel great about yourself,
Hmm.
there's that connection to the disgust. But
Mm,
if you work through that, there's the acceptance to say, this is who I was.
yeah,
And I got to love her because she brought me here.
100%.
So now I'm going to keep building off of
Yeah.
this.
I love this. I love how you really like bring it all the way home. It's not just about the appearance of things. It's also, like you said, it's so much deeper. So I really love that you shared that. So I want to switch gears a little bit. Like I think it's a good transition actually, as we think about longevity and our future selves and how to be living at our highest potential. I would love for you to touch on your expertise when it comes to women, after 40. Because like whether you believe it or not, like I mean, I've heard people kind of talk about how like perimenopause, it's just a thing. Like, they make it up so they can sell your hormones and it's like I hear that and it's like maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know. But I do know that energetically, right, as we kind of hit the maybe what Carl Jung kind of calls like the afternoon of our lives, I mean, there are significant, like spiritual, cognitive, and biological changes that are real, right? So whether you believe perimenopause or not, I think it's a real life stage, right? And so I would love for you to share your perspective on how do things shift, whether that's, I'm sure you'll cover them all, but emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and then yeah, just share your expertise on that, and then what are the best things for us to do as we hit that later stage of our lives.
I love that question. Because yes, in 40s, women are just like try to make accept that you're just aging and this is normal for 40s and this is what it is, right? And that's such BS statement because 40s are very important because they amplify everything that you've done up until that point,
Mhm.
and they make you raise the bar. And what I mean by that is you can abuse your body and your brain in your 20s and your 30s. You can
Mhm.
drink. You can go without sleep. You can run on 2 hours of sleep. You can not work on recovery. You can do all that.
Mhm.
And your body's going to be very patient. It's like, oh, okay, cool, you're in your 20s, be a fool. 30s, it starts kind of telling you, right? You hit 40s and the body's like, all right, I need you to be serious. You have set the bar too low for yourself, and I'm going to need you to up that bar. And we
Mhm.
need to look at everything. We need to look at your environment. What kind of people have you letting around you? Have you been
Mm.
setting your boundaries
Mhm.
properly?
Mhm.
Have you been putting yourself first? Do you even know what that means? Have you been voicing your needs and wants? Do you even know what you need? Do you even know what you want?
Yep.
And then I'm going to show
Mhm.
you physically everything that you're not doing right, just so you know to course correct when you're doing something wrong. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't want your nutrition to be on point. So you don't want to take your sleep seriously. So you think you're just going to push through.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do something different here. And 40s
Mm-hmm.
amplify all
Mm.
of that. So
Yep.
do hormones shift? Yes. They
Mm-hmm.
shift differently for everyone. But that is a small part of everything that we need to look at in our 40s. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like you need to stop everything that you're doing and be like, okay, now I need to reorganize my whole lifestyle because, again, we're going to work it around the nervous system.
Yep.
If you do that,
Yep.
your nervous system is not going to want that.
No.
So you have to look into one area at a time,
Yep.
one thing at a time. Maybe I'm not hydrating enough. Great. Let's work on that. And
Mm-hmm.
people, especially women,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to think that the small things don't matter and they tend to want to go to the big stuff, right? Like, oh, the hormones, it's all about the hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, hormones. But are you drinking enough water, right? And then when they're like, oh, I just can't make, I'm like, all right, well, let's look into the bottle. Like, let's start with a bait. Like, do you want a straw? Do you not want a straw? Do you want a handle? Do you not want a handle? Do you want to be able to grab it? How big do you want it? Do you want to fill it up a few times a day? All of that matters. And I've had my clients like literally go on Amazon and like search for what they want. And once they get
Yep.
what they want, they're like, okay, this is easy. Great. You just allow your brain to function better, right? You allow your body to function better, right? We're about 70% water,
Mm-hmm.
and most of it is stored in fascia. And fascia also transmutes and keeps information. So
Mm-hmm.
what happens when we don't pay attention to fascia? What happens when we're not working out? What happens when we're not sleeping well? All of the systems start falling apart. And then again,
Mm-hmm.
women come out there and they're like, oh, it's your hormones. Yes, they're shifting. But let's talk about everything else because you know what? It's easy to say it's hormones, give me hormones, than
Yeah.
it is to stop and say, oh, I have not had that hard conversation. I don't even know how to have that conversation. I don't know how to set a boundary and let alone keep the boundary intact
Yeah.
when it gets tested.
Yeah.
So 40s are a very interesting age
Yeah.
because they're amplifying. They're amplifying everything that you're doing. If you're doing it right, and if you're doing it
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And if you don't pay attention,
Mm-hmm.
women wake up in their 50s not knowing why they have osteoporosis, muscle loss, why everybody's avoiding them, why they're full of rage, because we never worked through them. 40s are a crossroad to say, okay,
Yeah.
you had that part where you were joking around and not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Now I need you to take me seriously to set you up for the remainder of your life. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge
Mm-hmm.
crossroad.
I love the way you put it because one of the so in food psychology, one of the there's an archetypal change that happens for women and men when they reach a certain age. So for women, it's around the 40 age, and it's when we kind of make the transition from being in that princess archetype. So if you can imagine a princess, she's beautiful and she's kind of young, but she's a bit clueless and she's always looking for external validation, right? And she's kind of like, oh, like, is this good enough? Am I pretty enough for you? Like, am I thin enough for you? Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And then as women go into their 40s, there is a threshold transition into the queen archetype, which is, sovereign. Like I just got chills saying that. It's like the
I
sovereign
love it
being.
because those are the words I use on my website. It's relentless queen. I use
Uh-huh.
the word sovereign. I use the word self leadership. Oh my God, this is.
I mean, of course, right? Of course. But it's so true. And I love the way you said it. It's that this actually just amplifies. It's like it's not here to punish you, it's not some medical professional coming in and saying, oh, now you're gonna go through these things. Let me save you with these medications. It's like, no, 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 no. You've lived your life a certain way, and now like here's the receipts. Can you let's
Here's the
reconcile
receipts.
the
Yes, here's the bill. I'm going to need
yeah,
you to pay this hefty bill. Yeah. And the way
yeah,
I also word it is, when I had the studio, women would come to me in their 40s and they're like, I can't get away with things anymore. I can't eat the way I used to. And I'm like, okay, why are we getting away with things? That's the whole thing of
yeah,
queendom, right?
yeah.
Why are you getting away?
Hmm.
If you approach your relationship with your significant other and you say, I can get away with things, or they say, I get away with things in my relationship, why wouldn't that make you feel like? If you're
Yeah,
running your business
yeah,
and you say, I can get away with this with my
yeah,
clients, what kind of service is that?
yeah.
So why is it that in the only vehicle that we have, we're trying to get away with things? And so I
Uh-huh.
would have women who are trying to eat so differently from their family, which food is bonding. We need to understand that food is
Oh yeah.
bonding. You cannot eat completely differently from your family
Hmm.
unless you've done so much inner work.
Hmm.
And you want to slowly bring your family up to that point.
Hmm.
Slowly and surely, there has to be a way to work together.
Yep.
And that's again where that queen steps in, and it's like, I need to be the head of my household. I really need to
Mm.
be the leader here. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the 40s are telling women, they're not like, kind of asking, but they stop asking at some point. They start telling women, you have to rise to that level of leadership that's within you that you've been ignoring this whole time. Yes, you played princess. Yes, you were waiting for the savior. Yes, you tried. Get it. You were young. You're
Mm-hmm.
not that age anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
need to step into a leader because a queen is a leader. You're so right about the princess. She's
Mm-hmm.
looking into
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
insecurity stuff, right? Queen
100%.
is, I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know what I want.
Yep.
And don't be in my way to get there. And that's
Yeah.
why I love talking about this because it's like you have to optimize yourself to get there.
Yep.
That shows to you, to yourself, that
Yep.
you've raised your standards and that you don't need discipline because you just, once you raise your standards, it's easy. Like, I don't
Yeah.
question if I'm going to work out. It's not the question. I have a home gym,
Mm-hmm.
like home gym. I have four things in there, but I made my home gym to work
Yep.
for me. And I don't question, do I work out today? I go in and
Mm-hmm.
then I adjust based on how much energy I have and what kind of recovery do I need. Right? So
100%.
because I
Yeah.
raised my standards, right? I wasn't
Yeah.
always there, but I
Yeah.
raised my standards to say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Of course I
Yeah.
do that, right? So the
Yeah.
same thing comes, but it can't be forced. It's a whole process to work through all the layers and
Yeah.
unpeel all that, all the insecurities and layers that have been put on us for all these years.
Yeah. 100%. And like if we go back to that archetype of the queen or stepping into that sovereign leadership for your own life, that isn't actually always an age thing either, because, I've worked with people who are in their like 50s and 60s who's like, this is the first time they heard of that. And it's like, oh shit, I should have been like on the queen track a while ago, you know? So
Yeah,
like
it's,
I
there's
do.
a quote that I always like to use, which is
Uh-huh.
the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next
Hmm.
best time is today, which
Yeah.
means, yeah, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but what
Yeah.
am I doing today? Right?
100%. Yeah. I just say that so that people do not feel shame around the fact that like, oh no, I missed my chance. Like, no, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no, no.
no,
It's
no,
just it's not
no.
necessarily an age thing. It's more like an emotional maturity thing. But it just
Yes.
seems to happen around that age for most people. So it's not like a hard and
Yes.
fast rule. But I do
Yes.
think this perspective and this kind of I guess permission, is so powerful, right? Because from a culture, okay, so let me go down the rabbit hole for like half a second. Dominant culture wants a whole society of princes and princesses because they can be controlled,
Yes.
they can be manipulated, they never feel solid in themselves, right? And and here's my other like black sheep comment, like I don't think we've ever had a true patriarchy because a true patriarch is actually a steward and they actually love the world, right? We've just had a toxic, or maybe like an immature or a shadow masculine that's taken over. And
Yes.
that's very
Yes.
controlling, right? And that's very like,
Yes.
that's like competitive, controlling. But like, I don't think we've had a true patriarchy because a real sovereign king is not going to be a dick. Like,
That
like,
is so
right?
true. That is very true. Actually, it's
Yeah.
interesting. We went here to a historical site of, they found like remains of someone like a Roman Empire that a
Mhm.
Roman ruler that lived here, I don't know, like thousands of years ago. And I think about Roman Empire. There was a whole thing about like Roman Empire. I think about Roman Empire often, and it's like the reason why they were able to conquer so much. Yes, there was force and stuff, but it
Yeah.
was also working with people that are there, right? Like working with a new people, with wherever new countries that they got, they
Mhm.
had to go both ways,
Yeah.
right? And the best rulers exactly do that. They have to be, there's a give and take. That's again going back to leadership.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that I'm a leader. That doesn't mean a commander, right? So I'm not
I love that.
commanding to my family to eat a certain way.
I love that.
I'm leading them and
Yeah.
through example showing and then educating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not commanding my clients. I'm leading my clients to bring the best out of
Yes.
them, to let
Yes.
them see as leaders. It's a very
Yes.
big difference.
Yeah. I love that. And I just love your whole vibe. Like just that, like this you have such a sense of purpose and like just, like what you're here to do. And I wonder if that also plays into it as well, because again, if we go back to those archetypes we're talking about, when you move into that leadership kind of archetype, you also need to feel a sense of deeper purpose than just like looking a certain way, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh
like, so is that part, that's
yes.
probably a big part too, right? To really actually get people to connect with themselves and connect with it doesn't have to be a grandiose purpose, it could be
Yeah.
something very simple, but hard to accomplish, such as just being loving, right? Like it seems
Yeah.
simple, but it's like, that's hard. We're so mean to ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that's what it is. And again, that's
Mm,
because I've beat myself up too so many times, and I've seen women do it all the time. And it's just like, it doesn't lead anywhere. It literally
hmm
never helps you in your life to beat yourself up,
hmm
right? And so, yeah, it was the superficial for me before of like
hmm
just doing, that,
Yeah.
just stuff on top. But
Yeah.
now it's just like, I see the power behind what I do. Like I see the power in elevating women. I see
Yes.
what then they can go and create, right? Like it's
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
same in your work. You
Yeah.
help women shed so much BS that they've been carrying for so long,
Yeah.
and so that they can focus on other things, right? If
Yeah.
you I've been obsessed with food before. I've been
Yeah.
obsessed with tracking. I know what it's like. You can't think of anything else. Your
100%.
whole world revolves
hmm
around God, stupid food. When is
Yep.
my next meal? What is my next meal? How many calories is
Yep.
it? What is it?
100%.
Right? So when you free people from that, and
hmm
then like with me, when I help them optimize and have that brain that is like easy to make decisions, they don't second guess themselves, they trust themselves. It's like,
hmm
wow,
Yeah.
that's that's a queen that know that she's a queen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more powerful, in my opinion, to
Yeah.
that.
100%. I agree with you 100%. Oh my goodness, Lex, you are just so amazing. I appreciate you so much. And before we wrap this up, could you please share what you have going on with you and any offers that are fresh right now? Because I would love for you to share the word and support you in that.
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me here. You are absolutely amazing, which is why we're friends. And
Yeah.
which is why when we
Yeah.
connected, it was like, I need this
Uh-huh.
woman in my life, right?
Yes.
I have something exciting coming up. I'm putting
Mhm.
together a 6 week a challenge, and it's win your money back challenge. And you win it by actually finishing it.
Yeah.
And it's for people who want to optimize their sleep, their
Uh-huh.
brain, and up their energy. And there is no what people call it. They're like, well, what's the trick there? Like, how are you doing that and replaying people back? I've done that when I was in fitness.
Mhm.
A certain percentage of people stays, and the beauty is that everybody talks about how amazing it was. So
Mhm.
there's more eyes on my business, and in my business, I win when my people win. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to create this as a risk-free offer where people are really incentivized to participate. So that's coming
Mm.
up soon at the end of August. We're starting in September.
Cool. I'm gonna join you. That sounds really fun.
Love it. Love
Yeah, yeah.
it. I would love
That
to have
sounds
you.
so good. All right. Well, thank you, Lex, again. And yeah, this has just been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
for having me.